Welcome to the CPM Customer Success Podcast, where we help Office of Finance leaders enable an exact solution to enhance their corporate performance without spending countless nights and weekends in the office. Hi, I'm your host, Andy Smetana with Nova Advisory. Nova Advisory is a 100% OneStream professional services diamond implementation partner. We help OneStream customers and prospective OneStream customers get the most out of their OneStream investments. And for CPM Customer Success listeners, we now have a weekly newsletter to keep you informed on the latest CPM Customer Success news. By subscribing today, we'll keep you informed on episode releases, including customer success stories, OneStream interviews, and capabilities to keep you up to date about OneStream's unified platform for finance. You can check that out now at Nova Advisory's website, novaadvisory.com/podcast, and subscribe to the CPM Customer Success Podcast newsletter today. Today we'll unpack why relational blending isn't just technical jargon, it's the bridge that connects your transactional, operational data to high-level financial strategy in real time. Let's start with the fundamentals. What is OneStream's relational blending and why does it matter? OneStream's relational blending is a capability. It lets you bring together operational or transactional data, things like payroll or inventory or even student enrollment if you're in the higher education space. And that brings that data together with financial planning models inside OneStream's unified platform. That means your financial forecasts aren't based on guesstimates or laggy metrics, but rather they're powered by real granular data that's pulled directly from your source systems. So in short, it connects the what's happening now to what's coming next, and it happens in real time. It isn't just helpful, it's really transformational for your business. So let's talk about some of the pain points the finance teams face. Finance teams have it rough these days, and especially when data is fragmented. You're spending hours chasing down headcount, data, and details from your HR systems. You're emailing your operational teams for transaction volumes, or you're waiting on IT to send a file. Only to find out all of those files and some of that information, well, it's outdated. By the time the data comes to you, you have the right version, it's really too late to act on it. And even when you do get that information, you're stuck blending it manually into Excel spreadsheets. One wrong formula, and your entire forecast can be off. So there's no drill down, there's no visibility. It's like driving with a fogged up windshield, and you can't answer basic questions like, well, why is marketing spend 18% over budget? How does my labor cost shift by department? That disconnect between operations and finance, that kills your responsiveness and your trust. But here's the good news. Relational blending is a capability in OneStream that erases those barriers. So instead of dumping data into a spreadsheet or waiting on IT to prep data for you, you connect your data directly to the data at the source. You create staging tables inside OneStream that stores detailed records, things like employee IDs or purchase orders or vendor invoices. Then you can use cube logic to blend that data into financial models. So you don't have to copy and paste, you don't have to reformat files, you don't even have to leave the OneStream platform. Even better, you can drill all the way down from a consolidated number to the individual drivers that are behind it. Your data stays live, it stays traceable, and it stays trusted. So let's dive into where this relational blending concept really shines. There's use cases that transform how FP&A teams work today. So first off, workforce planning. We've got 5,000 employees across departments. You want to model salaries, bonuses, benefits, and taxes. So traditionally, you've built that from HR data. You've massaged it in Excel, and you've hoped for the best. Now with relational blending, you can load all that employee data into a staging table. Things like names, the job titles, your department, salary bands, start dates. And then you can connect all that data to financial rules within the OneStream cube. If someone changes roles or departments, your plans are updated instantly. You want to model a 5% raise across IT or cut a bonus eligibility on the sales team? Well, you change a driver and then you're done. You're not planning in Excel, you're planning with precision. So what else makes relational blending shine? Well, let's say your expectation is every department must justify every dollar, not just tweak last year's budget. But how do you track thousands of line items to justify their need and ensure there's compliance? Well, relational blending allows budget owners to input justification level data, things like vendor or spend reason, contract terms, or usage metrics. This sits in a relational table while the financial model only pulls the data that has been approved. It gives department heads freedom and full financial control. Approvals, audit trails, and policy alignment are all built in. Third aspect that makes OneStream's relational blending capability stand out. Well, let's talk about CapEx and project planning level detail. Let's say you're launching a capital project. You've got a campus renovation or you've got a new manufacturing line. You need to plan spend by milestone, things like vendor, location, and asset categories. That detail lives outside your general ledger, but with relational blending, it can live inside your financial plan. You can track invoices and progress, things like depreciation, and see real-time impact on your cash flow and your capital allocation. You no longer ask, well, where's the latest CapEx spreadsheet? It's all within OneStream. Next up in relational blending, sales and revenue forecasting that's really tied to reality. You want to forecast revenue, but your sales data lives in a separate CRM system. Well, relational blending allows you to bring that CRM data into OneStream. You can pull in things like quotes or contracts, your win probabilities, and close dates. Finance then models the revenue recognition directly from the sales funnel all the way down to the product, territory, or your sales rep level. You can also tie it to supply chain data, so you can plan things like inventory or delivery dates and fulfillment with a razor-sharp visibility. Let's talk about the final unique differentiator for relational blending, lease accounting. So under IFRS 16 or ASC 842, if you've ever handled lease accounting, you're very familiar with those regulations. You know how painful it is to track each lease term, the rates, durations, and payment streams. Well, relational blending allows you to store each lease contract in a table, every line item, and automate right-of-use asset calculations, depreciation schedules, and liability roll forwards all within your plan. It's audit ready, it's policy compliant, and it's built for finance to manage without an accounting workaround. So let's bring relational blending to life for our CPM Customer Success story of the week. This one's a higher education institution. It's a large state university in the southeastern part of the United States, and it's a top-ranked academic health center. This university had 1,400 faculty, 28 departments, 24 separate Hyperion applications, and a massive sprawl of data. Their FP&A team struggled with version control, inconsistent reporting, and disconnected tools for budgeting and consolidations. Does that sound familiar? Well, they evaluated their options and ultimately chose OneStream for one reason. And that was OneStream provided a unified platform with relational blending capabilities. They began their implementation in 2 waves. Their first wave was consolidations and reporting. They integrated their ERP, PeopleSoft for HR, Dynamics for finance, and Epic for clinical data. They brought all that data into OneStream. Relational blending allowed them to map department-level financials to operational KPIs, things like patient visits and insurance mix. For the very first time, finance team could see actuals by department and drill into the root causes, things like variances in real time. Next came wave 2, and that was their budgeting and planning. And that was truly a game changer for them. Each college got its own sub-cube, so they could have visibility across departments for things like salary, tuition, grant spend, and more. They used relational blending to manage over 25,000 employees in their OneStream platform. They could track down to the job code level, get to salaries, benefits, and union rules. Previously, adding a new employee took 3.5 hours in their Hyperion legacy system. Now, with OneStream, it took 5 minutes. That's not a rounding error. That's transformational. They slashed manual entry, eliminating shadow systems, and gave users a single source of truth. Reports that took days now refresh in real time. Drill down that was impossible is now effortless. They built dashboards that tie together financial, operational, and clinical data. They empowered their deans, their administration, and their financial leadership to make faster, better decisions. Are you thinking about starting your own journey? Well, here are some battle-tested tips. Start small. Pick one use case. It could be workforce, could be capital expenditures, could be cash forecasting. We'll make that your MVP and your star. Get IT involved early, but don't make them own it. Finance needs to lead the strategy. Identify your data sources and build your relational tables intentionally. Use extensible dimensionality to support localized needs without breaking your models. And keep your cubes lean. Store the detail in those relational tables we've been talking about, and only aggregate data that you need. Above all, iterate fast. Relational blending gives you agility. Don't wait for perfection. Launch, learn, and then refine. A finance leader's real-time, driver-based FP&A is no longer a luxury. It's become the standard. With relational blending, your team stops fighting fires and starts driving strategy. You're no longer the team of no, and rather you're the team of, well, how fast can we model this? As technology evolves, this type of unified architecture will be table stakes. And OneStream puts you ahead of the curve by making relational blending native, flexible, and scalable. So let's wrap things up. Relational blending in OneStream means faster planning, trusted data, complete visibility, and strategic agility. If your team wants to close faster, forecast smarter, and stop operating in silos, well, this is your moment. Reach out to Nova Advisory. We'd love to talk to you about how relational blending can help you modernize FP&A and connect the dots across your organization. Thanks again for joining today's episode of CPM Customer Success. And a reminder, check out the CPM Customer Success weekly email newsletter to stay informed of the latest CPM Customer Success episodes and OneStream news. You can check that out at Nova Advisory's website, novaadvisory.com/podcast, and subscribe to the CPM Customer Success newsletter today. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week for another episode of CPM Customer Success.